The topic is analyze linear equations, y equal mx plus b. B is the y-intercept. So the first example we have about this is on page 142. The example one we are going to work today is about to write the equation of a line. The middle school student council is organizing a dance. He has $500 to pay for a DJ. DJ Dave will charge $200 for a setup fee and the first hour, okay? Only 1 hour and the setup fee. Or $425 for a setup fee and 4 hours. How can the student council determine whether they can afford to have the DJ for 5 hours? Okay, they want to know if they can have the DJ for 5 hours or not. The amount of money they have is $500. You have at the right part the prices for DJ tape, the rates of price, okay? For example, the setup fee is $125 and the hourly rate is $75. We are going to compare this with some facts that we are going to obtain later. The step one is to plot the total cost for DJ tape for 1 hour. And later we are going to graph again for 4 hours. If we find the initial value or y-intercept and the rate of change or slope. So what is the slope? This is the rate of change. It's what is going to cost for each hour. When we find the slope, this is going to be the cost for each hour for DJ tape. So in the graph we have, this is 1 for X and 200 for Y. And the other point we are going to have is 4 for X and 425 for Y. Yes, they are the points we have. I'm going to show you the points in here. Maybe if I draw this in here, and I'm going to draw the other one. These are the 2 points I have. So what can I do with these points? I need to find the slope. I need to find the slope of this graph using these 2 points. Remember, I only need 2 points to find the slope. So if I find the slope, what is the slope? M is equal. Remember, subtract the values of Y divided by the values of X. So M is going to be equal. I subtract the values for Y, 425, minus, this is, and the other one is 200. This is for 4 hours, and this is for 1 hour. This is over the values of X, and the value of X is 4 hours minus 1 hour. So I'm going to write this now like a fraction so you can see it better. This is like in this way, and the other one is in here. Okay, so this is what you have. You only need to subtract for Y and subtract for X, so we can find the value for the slope. If I subtract in here, you obtain that M is equal to 225 divided by 3. Because when you subtract 425 minus 200, is 225. And if you subtract 4 minus 1, you obtain 3. And dividing this, you are going to obtain that M is equal 75. This is the slope. Okay, but what is the meaning of the slope in this graph? The slope, like you have it on the beginning of the problem, is going to be, okay, the cost for each hour. So this is constant. Remember, the slope is going to be the same in all the points of this graph. So if, for example, I have for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, for each hour is going to cost 75. So the slope in this case is representing the cost for 1 hour. You also have it at the beginning. On the drawing, you have DJ Dave with the rates. You have the hourly rate is 75. It's the same we obtained using the slope. So this is the price for 1 hour. Now, how can we use this point? This point is the y-intercept. This is the cost for the setup fee. This is a cost that is going to be in all the hours. It doesn't matter if they are 4, 5, 6 hours. He is going to obtain a amount of money for the setup fee. So for example, in 1 hour, you pay 75 for 1 hour and you pay the initial fee. You pay 2 hours or 3 and you pay the initial fee. Okay, it's like the example we solved the last week, remember, about the girl who wants to know the price for renting shoes. And you obtain that this is a price that is going to be in all the points. So this is the same in here. The point I have, I'm going to write the point in here. The point I have is 0 for x, right? I don't have anything in x, and the value for y is 125. This is the point you have in here for the y-intercept. This is the y-intercept, right? The point where the graph pass through the y-axis, this is the y-intercept. Now, what we need to do is to write the equation. We need to write an equation to represent the total cost for DJ Dave for any number of hours. So for this step 2, I'm going to write it in here. We need to write an equation. We need to write an equation to represent the total cost for DJ Dave for any number of hours. Do you remember about this equation? Y is equal K multiplied by X. This is the constant of proportionality, right? The value for K. But when we have a graph, when we work with a graph, this is not going to be K. It's going to be a M. So Y is M multiplied by X. I already have the value for M. But this is the equation for one graph that passed through the origin. This graph doesn't pass through the origin. So I need to write the y-intercept. The y-intercept is this point when my function starts, okay, when my function begins. It doesn't start through the origin. So I add a variable more, b, this is the y-intercept. What is y? Y is the total cost. Y is the total cost. This is equal the value of M multiplied by X. What is the value of M multiplied by X? This is the hourly rate. Okay, depending on the number of hours, you are going to have something different in here. So I have the hourly rate. And this is in addition with the initial fee. I'm going to write fee in here. This is the equation you need to write. You already have the form of the equation. So how can I write this? Only replacing the values for the variable, the value for the variables. Y is equal, what is the hourly rate? For each hour is 75 and I multiplied by the variable x, so I have 75x. And the initial fee, what is initial fee? The y-intercept I have is 125. Remember, it's 0 for x in this point. When you have the intercept, it's 0 for the other variable. For example, in here is y-intercept, so I have 125, but for the other variable is 0. Now this is the equation I was looking for. Y equals 75x plus 125. This is the cost for 1 hour, and x is going to be the number of hours. So the example, for what hours they ask. How can the student council determine whether they can afford to have DJ Dave play for 5 hours? They want to know if they can or not pay to DJ Dave for 5 hours. So I'm going to replace the X for 5 hours. So in this step 3, they are asking you to replace the equation I have, Y equals 75x. I'm going to replace, X is not going to be a variable anymore. I have one value, that is 5 hours. So I replace by 5 hours. Plus, I can add in here 125, right? I multiply and I add the initial fee. So I only need to solve this. In this case, y is equal 75 multiplied by 5. What is the value of this multiplication? What is the result? It's 375, right? And I only need to add the 125. This is the initial rate. When we have the result for this is 500. So in 5 hours, they are going to pay 375. But remember, this is an initial cost. It's always, it doesn't matter on the number of hours, it is always going to be the same. So when I add this, you obtain that is 500. So what can we say? Okay, at the end of the problem, the total cost is $500. So they are going to be able to afford DJ Dave. They are going to pay $500 for the 5 hours. This is for the example number 1. What is the difference in this kind of examples? Like in the last example I was explaining to you. I don't have only a line m multiplied by x. I have now a y-intercept. This intercept represents that this function doesn't start in the origin. It doesn't begin on the origin.
Mister,
Tell me.
I have a question. In the part where it says 75 times 5 plus 125, why you put 5? 75 times 5.
Because they are asking you if this student council can pay for this DJ 5 hours. They want to know about 5 hours. So you multiply by 5 because x is the number of hours. You can see it on the graph. I didn't write it in here, but you can see it on the graph you have on the book. They write the number of hours for x, and y is the total cost. Y is the cost in dollars. Okay, so that's the reason why I multiplied by 5, because they want to know if the $500 they have is going to be enough to pay to this DJ during 5 hours or not. So we obtain the answer that yes, she is going to be able to afford this DJ during 5 hours because it's going to cost exactly the $500 he has at the beginning. So I'm going to finish in here sharing the board. Okay. Just